Paul began his second missionary journey in the city of Antioch. This city was central to the early Christian church and was the capital of the Roman province of Syria, with a population around 300,000. Antioch is now Antakya in the south-central part of present-day Turkey. It is located in a valley near the Orontes River. Agriculture is the most important activity for the economy, and the population is near 150,000 people. Next on the trip is Tarsus, Paul's birthplace. The city was an important part of the empire, with contributions to the economy within the agricultural and linen industries. Historically, it is also known for being the first meeting place of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. Tarsus continues to be a thriving city in the south-central part of Turkey. It is located close to the Mediterranean and sits on the Tarsus River. The population is estimated to be around 200,000 people. Derbe was a very small town located in the Lycaonian district of Galatia. Although small, this town was an important town for Paul and Barnabas as they took shelter there from the persecution they faced nearby on their first missionary journey. Today, the geographic location of Derbe is in the southern portion of Turkey. However, in the specific location, there is not a town like there was when Paul visited. It is believed that the exact site has been located, but although identified, there has not been much excavated of the former village. Lystra was another small town that Paul fled to for safety from the people of Iconium on his first missionary journey. It was located in Lycaonian as well and served as the market town of the district. It is believed that this was also the hometown of Timothy, and it is speculated that this is who Paul stayed with as he passed through. Similar to Derbe, Lystra is no longer a town, but rather a tell, or mound of what appears to be earth, but contains the remains of a city underneath. The site can be seen in the southern part of modern-day Turkey. Iconium is one of the towns Paul faced persecution in during his first missionary journey, yet he still chose to return and continue his ministry to the people and early believers. The city is on the southwest edge of the Anatolian Plateau, but also surrounded with fertile plain. Both the Bozkır Mountain and the Tarsus mountain range help enclose the city. Today, Iconium is the city of Konya in central Turkey. Agriculture is once again one of the main elements that make up the majority of the economy. Specifically, wheat and cotton are most common. There is also emphasis on wool and livestock. Tourism is also growing, attracting both Muslims and Christians. Troas, also known as Alexandria Troas, was an important port city located on the Aegean Sea. This town was often a stopping point for travelers before crossing the sea and leaving Asia Minor for Macedonia. It is also located very near the city of Troy, made famous by the Homeric epic poem, the Iliad. Visiting this northwestern city in Turkey today, it is still possible to see some of the remains of the ancient city once ruled by the Roman Empire. Paul reached the shores of Macedonia at the port city of Neapolis. He chose to visit Macedonia on this trip because of a revelation he had that convinced him of the importance of making the trip across the Aegean Sea. It is also speculated that Luke joined him at this point in the trip because of the passages of Scripture in Acts changing from them to we. Today, Neapolis is the Greek city of Cavallo, and still an important seaport for this country. The city rises on the slopes of Mount Simvolo and prospers with exports of tobacco, wheat, textiles, and sugar beets. Just a short distance to the north of Neapolis, Paul traveled to the city of Philippi. It was from his interactions with the early believers in this town on both his second and third missionary journeys that he wrote his letter, which is now the book of Philippians in the Bible. If you travel to Philippi today, you would be entering the hill town of Philippi, Greece. There are still remains of what once were altars for worshiping the pagan gods and goddesses. Some may also be interested to visit this city for its historical significance because it is the city where Brutus and Cassius were defeated in battle by Mark Antony and Octavian. Next on Paul's journey, Amphipolis was another city located along a river. The city is only 3 miles from the Aegean Sea, and with its strategic location along the Strymon River, it became an important transportation center. It is likely that Paul only stayed a short time in Amphipolis as he was journeying on to the other early churches. Amphipolis is a part of modern-day Greece and has been known for its production of oil, wine, and wood. Additionally, with the convenience of river transportation, the city has become a central location for the trading of silver, gold, and timber. Apollonia was another town that Paul did not spend ample time in as he was journeying to visit the churches in Thessalonica. Its close proximity to the Via Egnatia made it an ideal stopping point to rest and restock supplies. The location of this Greek town is debated by some, but the general area is known by the same name. There are plenty of wooded areas as well as lakes and riverbeds to enjoy in this area of the country. Paul finally reached one of his main destinations when he landed in Thessalonica on his second missionary journey. His letters to the Thessalonians can be found in our New Testament under 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. The city was built on the base of the edge of Mount Cortiatis, and it overlooks the plains of Gallikos and Varda. The city is now Thessaloniki and is the capital of northern Greece. It has a significant presence in the industrial and commercial world and is the ultimate destination for a number of rail lines in Greece. Only Athens has a greater population in the country, and it is also the second most important port. Paul stopped to preach in Berea after his visit in Thessalonica. This Macedonian city lies to the west of Thessalonica along the Vermio mountain range, just north of the Aliacoumon River. Paul's attempts to minister to the people in the town were interrupted by some Thessalonians who came to stir up the people and further disrupt his preaching of the good news. He left this town in pursuit of Athens, most likely by way of the Aegean Sea. Presently, the town in Greece is known as Beroia. There are cotton and woolen mills, as well as trading involving wheat and fruits and vegetables. Like many of the other cities Paul visited, Athens is surrounded with rivers and mountains. At the time of Paul's visit, the city was not very large in comparison with some of the other places he was ministering. It is estimated that there were only 20,000 people living in the city at that time. Nonetheless, the city was known for its focus on learning and pursuit of truth. Athens contains the most important port of modern-day Greece and is currently the most populous city and capital of the country. There is a wealth of history within the city, and it is credited with cultivating the culture of Western civilization. At the time Paul visited Corinth, the city was slowly regaining status as a refounded Roman colony. He spent an extended time there working as a tent maker and writing letters found in the New Testament. Just as Athens was known for fostering intellectuals, Corinth was a center for commerce at the time. Before being converted into the Corinth Canal, ships would often be moved across the isthmus in order to avoid a longer voyage around the southern portion of Greece. Today, many of the remains of the old city can still be seen and toured. These remains are located 3 miles south of the modern city of Corinth in Greece. The area is the point of export for fruit and tobacco locally grown. Around 30,000 people presently call Corinth home. Cenchreae was the main port city east of Corinth. Paul made a stop in this town after he was in Corinth for the previous year and a half. As a popular port city, there was heavy emphasis on the god of the sea, Poseidon, and many seafarers visited the area often. There are still ruins to be seen today of this important and ancient port city, but much of the original architecture was destroyed after 2 separate earthquakes in the middle of the 4th century. Paul then made his way back across the Aegean Sea to the city of Ephesus. It is on the west coast of Asia Minor and had an intense focus on the goddess of fertility, Artemis. The people worshipped her to ensure their crops would flourish and their population would continue to grow. Although originally believed to be right along the coast, the land has since become more like a fertile plain because of the shifting coastline. There are ruins of the ancient city of Ephesus, and they can be found today in the western part of Turkey. When the city was still along the coastline, the opportunity for serving as a port city was beneficial for the area. However, with the shifting of the coastline, the city lacked the economic advantages of being able to import and export items with ease and fell into decline. The sites can still be visited, and the great historical significance remains to attract visitors. Rhodes is located on the island of Rhodes, just off the southwest coast of Asia Minor. The actual city is on the northern tip of the island and was not a very large city in general. Nonetheless, Rhodes has had a very large impact in the Mediterranean Sea area because of its prime location and the maritime power it exerted. Today, Rhodes is the most important city on this Greek island. It has been declared a World Heritage Site because of the preservation of historical structures and has become a popular tourist attraction. Along with tourism, most of the inhabitants are employed through fishing and government services. Paul continued his journey across the Mediterranean Sea to reach the port city of Caesarea. At the time of Paul's visit, Caesarea was the capital of the Roman province of Judea and was of great importance for the early Christian church. The Caesarea of today is located on the western edge of Israel along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. Numerous excavations have been performed to uncover sections of the ancient city. The area now contains a national park for tourists to view what remains and enjoy experiencing one of the primary locations mentioned in the New Testament. The final stop on Paul's second missionary journey is the beautiful city of Jerusalem. This city has great historical significance for those with Jewish background, as it was the Jewish kingdom's capital under the reign of King David. With this history, Paul faced opposition from Jews that made up a good portion of the city's population. Jerusalem is still known by the same name today and is located in the central part of Israel and serves as the capital of the country. There has been much debate surrounding the city and who should control it. The conflict is mainly between Palestinian Arabs and those of Jewish descent. In the city today, you will find an interesting mix of Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Similar to Rhodes, Jerusalem offers the most employment for those involved in government services and tourist-related operations. Paul traveled back to Antioch as the final leg to the journey, but he was already planning his third missionary journey, which took place in close succession.